Hello, guys, and welcome to Undefined Reality. Today, we are going to discuss some of the creepiest encounter with Men in Black. Number 1. The Telepathic Encounter with Men in Black. A man, known only as Larry, claims that one night he was drifting up to his sleep when he was contacted by a strange presence who communicated with him telepathically. This weird presence explained that he was not from this earth, but beyond that, he gave no reason for contacting Larry. Somewhat skeptical, Larry asked the presence to provide some proof of its existence, beyond simply sending thoughts into his head. He wanted a face-to-face meeting. The presence agreed to provide Larry with further proof. Larry wasn't sure what to make of this entire thing, while he continued with his life as usual. But he was obsessed about the dream he had. Eventually, he caught up with his best friend at the Independence Day celebration at the nearby park. As Larry was talking with his friend, a black van pulled up nearby, and two men got out of the van. Two more similarly dressed men exited the van after them, but they did not appear to be entirely human in shape. The strange men sat down at the nearby picnic table, looked over at Larry, and then re-entered their van and just left as mysteriously as they had arrived. Larry never found out why they had contacted him. Number 2. Teleporting Men in Black. Albert Bender was the director of the organization called the International Flying Saucer Bureau, and he believed that he had finally blown the lid of the whole flying saucer thing. He had his own publication called the Space Review, in which he planned to spread his discovery about the UFO. After compiling all of his work on the UFO, he decided to mail the work to his friend, so his friend can look it over before Albert Bender can publish it to the world. Unfortunately, this attracted the attention of Men in Black, who decided that it was time to pay him a visit and prevent him from leaking all of the secrets of the UFO to the world. Couple of days later, Bender was on his bed when he suddenly had a dizzy spell. He noticed several dark shapes in his room with him that he slowly materialized into men in black suits, with black hats obscuring their face and eyes. He noticed in particular that the men's eyes lit up with an incredible glow, and they seemed capable of speaking directly to his mind. They made him promise to destroy his findings on the UFO and seize all of his research into the subject. Bender was so scared that he was happy to comply with the Men in Black. Number 3. A postal worker's terrifying experience with the Men in Black. An anonymous postal worker from the Washington, D.C. was out delivering mail one day when he decided to stop and eat an apple. When he was finished, he looked around for a trash can and he couldn't find any, so he just decided to toss it onto the ground. Before he could leave the area, a security guard approached and lectured him for his negligence, explaining that the entire building and the surrounding grounds were under constant surveillance. The postal worker thought about this, along with the fact that he already had to be buzzed in to deliver the mail, and began thinking that there was more to this place than he could see. A while later, he was out on his usual delivery run when he came by the same building again. This time, he saw three men walking toward the building, except they didn't appear to be like men. They waddled when they walked, instead of putting one foot in front of the other, and they were abnormally thin, and it was the thinness more than anything that frightened the mailman. Although he was terrified with this experience, he decided to go ahead and deliver the mail. When he entered the building, he found a group of men who began questioning him about what he had seen earlier. He was terrified and unable to respond until one of the strange beings who he had seen earlier, sided up near him, at which point he felt even more terrified. After he was grilled by a man in the room, he said that he saw nothing and he was allowed to live. Number 4. The Angry Man in Black. A professor of folklore by the name Peter R. told of an experience that happened one night in the college library while he was reading a book on UFOs that had been recommended to him by a colleague. He was just relaxing in a chair and reading his book when he noticed what appeared to be a leg and a shoe out of the corner of his eyes. Before he knew it, there was a man sitting in a chair in front of him. A man immediately asked Professor Peter R. about the book he was reading and cautioned him on whether he had seen UFOs or was just interested in the phenomena. When the professor stated that he wasn't really that interested in the subject to begin with, and he was just reading the book to satisfy the suggestion of a colleague, the man became enraged and angrily asked him how he could not be interested in the most important fact of the century. Seemingly satisfied that the professor was not going to dig into the UFOs, the man left, but not before telling Professor to go well on his purpose. However, while it seemed like this would be end of it, the story takes a turn for the extra creepy. After the encounter, the professor got up to walk around the library. However, none of the librarians were there to be seen. Even the guards and all of the patrons were missing. In fact, as far as he could tell, the library was completely empty except for him. The professor returned to his chair, and in about an hour, according to him, he decided to get up and look around again. And this time he found out everything was normal as before. Number 5. The Men in Black as Men in Grey. Most of the time, these beings are usually dressed up as men in black, but this time, a man describes them as wearing grey suits. A man by the name William Shearer from Essex, England, claimed to have seen a UFO, and a few days later, 2 men showed up at his house. One of the men stayed by the car and maintained an intimidating presence, while the other grilled Shearer about his experience. On this first visit, the man seemed to be more concerned with gaining permission to enter his house, rather than answers Shearer was going to give them. The man spoke in a strange voice that seemed flat and expressionless, and had extremely pale skin. This, along with the oddly intimidating behavior, was enough to scare William, and William chose not to let those men enter his house. Unfortunately for him, this experience was not the end. The men proclaimed that they would visit again, and not long after, they turned up at his work. They made it clear that they wanted to talk about the UFO, and once again asked permission to enter. But William declined their request, and the men vanished and never returned. But William believes that his phone has been tapped afterwards. What do you guys think? Do you guys think these men are real? And do you guys think they are humans or aliens or some secret government workers? Let me know down in the comment below. And please like and subscribe to this channel and help this channel grow so I can bring in more content like this in the future. Thank you for watching.